The other day, I was observing a woman instructing a man on how to do something the right way, how to do something properly. And it's quite common to observe. And it wasn't anything she had experience in, but it was probably something she'd heard, read, seen, or been told by one of her friends, or that was fashionable or in now, some new bit of information that she didn't have experience or practice in, but that was true by dint of her having heard it from somewhere else and now being able to tell her man. And I see this over and over again. It's quite typical. I mean, it's a stereotype because it's stereotypically true. It's widely observed. I've noticed it in social gatherings and family groups where the female is telling a man how he can improve. And we notice it's always superficial: hair, clothes, fashion, how he might cosmetically improve himself. That's the most common form this instruction and advice comes in. But sometimes it comes in the form of how to do something technically the right way. And I even observed it recently when I listened to Monday's conversation with Annika, where at one point she was telling him how he might improve his chances of finding a woman, and he quite attentively was listening to what she said. Men tend to do this more than females. I don't know if it's, a leaning towards science. Let me hear the information and then I'll process it. And it's this notion of observing women telling men what to do, along with men's reflex to want to know what women want and what they say. Now, as I was thinking about this phenomena recently, I thought about how men might reflexively interpret this thing. And I'm pretty sure, men's default is not only to listen to women's sincerity like they would another man, but to take in the interaction and participate in this interaction of listening to instruction, being informed, and knowing something more as a man. I think guys relate to this in the same way we do sport. There's a back and forth. There's a reciprocity. There's a symbiosis. There's a relationship that's always you, me, you, me. There's a growth in that. And like sports, it's under a set of very basic and fair rules. I hit the ball to you, you hit the ball to me. And it touches on why we like reason, philosophy, and science. There's a universality about it being applicable to both sides, about the conversation going back and forth, being able to discuss and relate. And this erroneous belief that women are playing sport with you as a man is an incorrect expectation on our part. They're not playing sport in a conversational, relating sense. It would be more akin to saying you're the player listening to the coach, if at all you were to touch on sport as an analogy and what this interaction represents. No, you're not playing sport with women, gentlemen, when you're conversing and trying to relate to them. It's not a sport relationship like it would be with a man, along with the very fair and open reciprocal rules. It's not sport. It's a customer service relationship. Now, I want you to think about that as a concept. When the man listens attentively as she instructs, you need to get over as a man that it's an unfair, frustrating, sports-like relationship where she's not playing by the rules, where you could quite rightly get frustrated in that way with another male. It's not a sport. You're not playing tennis. It's a customer service relationship. She's the customer and you're providing service. You're providing. You are the provider in this relationship. Even conversationally, she instructs. She's the customer. And if we can calibrate our thinking towards this, we can stop getting frustrated Females have their nature, men have theirs too. It's nothing about women nagging. Their default biological role is to be the customer, and men are the provider. The reason why I illustrate this point is to help ease your anxiety and frustration about the incompatibility of trying to discuss and see common ground with a female. You're both adopting unconscious roles from the get-go when you are trying to relate. There's all exceptions duly noted. People vary. And then when you throw in nature, things can start to fall off a cliff. It matters very little what your individual personality is like, when our DNA is operating from a very, very different instinct. And I'd like you to think about this when we think about the typical attentive guy trying to listen and forever doesn't do anything right, and she's frustrated at him. It's like the woman ordering a coffee and the barista doesn't serve it to her properly. It's not done the right way. It's too hot. It's not strong enough. It's too strong. It's got the wrong milk. I didn't order this. And it was precisely this cafe analogy that put all this into clarity for me and connected this thought model as a concept that I think might help clarify things for a lot of guys, things that we already know, but that might frustrate us. At this cafe, it was this soccer mum and a waitress was taking her order, and despite both of them being the same sex, it made me think of the dynamic of the woman instructing the male and having that entitlement and expectation that she's absolutely right, like a customer, i.e. the customer's always right. There's no self-reflection. She's there for a service. And why aren't you providing the service exactly the way she wants it? And that at root is the frustration, the quite natural biological frustration in her. And the frustration conversely in the male, where he's trying to get it right, trying to keep the customer happy. It's the male state as the provider of this service. And when he provides a good service, the customer's happy, he feels good, his business profits, and so does she. Does it at least clarify why both of our DNAs, hers and ours, reflex to this base that is actually cooperative? It's frustrating for the male, and I'm sure it is for the female that's not getting her way as well as a customer. But if we can start understanding each other in these ways. So she's the customer, you're the waiter, you're the chef, you're the barista making her coffee just right, you're the business owner, whatever you want to look at it as. You're the Uber driver trying to get a good rating. It's a give and take in that way. It's not a give and take in terms of sport. And gentlemen, you need to dislodge that relationship from your head when it relates to women. It's not a sport with women. It's a customer service interaction. And when you think about it in this way, men aren't really unconsciously trying to understand women. We're not trying to understand their language. There is no understanding of the language, so there's a mutual back and forth. We are taking her latte order and making sure the temperature is just right and she gets exactly what she wants. And as a result, we benefit as the barista, the artisan, proud of making the thing he makes, the business owner, proud of providing service, and the customer paying. It all gets tied up in a nice bow. That's the instinct. It's not two customers. It's not two business owners. It's not two Uber drivers. It's not two baristas. It's not two mirrors relating. It's a customer service role. Two completely different, symbiotic, cooperative animals. But it's not two football teams. And the only small way the sport analogy might even make some sort of sense in the male-female relating world is that she's always batting and you're always fielding. You're always on defense and she's always on offense. You never get the ball. If it's tennis, she's always serving and you're always receiving. But I don't think the sport analogy anyway is a good one to try and understand things at. I think it just confuses and complicates things. I think the soccer mum giving her order to the business and the waiter to get her order exactly right is the more clarifying analogy. And our DNA as men is based on customer satisfaction, the human doing, proud of conquering, of doing, someone who provides and serving somebody else. And don't get me wrong, service feels great. It is. But it needs to be a reciprocal relationship. So realize this if you're frustrated with intimate relations between women, at whatever commitment level or way you're relating to women, is to have a respectful relationship, even if it's customer and service provider. Constructive criticism, fine, but arrogance and petulance, no. You, as a business owner, an Uber driver, a waiter, have every reason to set self-respecting boundaries to enjoy your job, to enjoy your day-to-day relating. The customer is not right. The customer is fairly and cooperatively accommodated. Remember that, gentlemen. The customer is not right. The customer is fairly and respectfully accommodated, even in customer service. So consider this thought model or analogy the next time you observe or are frustrated personally yourself by this female instructing the male of what to do, how to do it, regardless of whether or not she has any experience or knowledge or authority to even impart this advice with that kind of confidence. It's because she's a customer. And the notion is she gets what she wants, like every entitled customer believes. Anyway, I hope that was useful. I'll talk to you later. If you like my content, please support my work. Subscribe, like, share, and donate. Thank you.